Hello and welcome to part 3 of putting Wagoneer Dana 44s under an XJ. What you're going to be watching next is cutting off all the useless brackets that I do not need. That includes the spring perches, that track bar looking mount, and the shock mounts. All of these are completely useless to me. They need to go. You're watching this on the Weekend Handyman. First mount to go was this funny track bar looking mount. The brackets that I'm going to eventually be welding onto this axle will have its own track bar mount that will mount up to the regular XJ suspension system. So this track bar mount is completely useless and just going to be cut off. As you can see here, it's a fairly simple process. An angle grinder with the cutting wheel. And for whatever reason, I really like shooting sparks in my camera. I don't know why. After a lot of cutting, you just gotta come in here, mount your foot on it, and give it a few whacks. Just keep hitting and hitting and hitting until it comes off. If that doesn't work, mount it and then hit it that way. Just keep hitting, hitting, and hitting. Eventually, you sort of decide, need to do some more cutting, don't I? So then you do some more cutting. Then you just start hitting it again, and then the next step is very important. Just about lose the axle off the jack stands. Very important step. When that happens, you just look around, make sure nobody noticed, and pick it back up. And then you just grab the hammer and keep on hitting. After a while, success will be achieved, in which case the bracket will just fall off. You pick it up, look at it, toss it. The next obvious step is to go switch out your cutting wheel for a grinding wheel and then just ground down the welds and make everything nice and smooth. It's fairly self-explanatory. I won't bore you with the entire process of grinding because that would turn this video into a couple hours for all the brackets. But you just make it nice and smooth and whatnot, then you just move on to your other brackets you need to cut off. The next bracket I decided to go to was the spring perch for the leaf springs on the Wagoneer. This bracket was a little bit trickier to do as the welds were a lot thicker and a lot stronger, so it took a lot more cutting before I eventually was able to hit it off. But I eventually got it. Here's just the final hammer hit that I did to knock it off. And that was that. That bracket is done. The next set of brackets to be cut off are the shock mounts. The new brackets that I will be welding on has shock mounts with it, so these are pretty useless to me. Pretty easy, just gotta grind them or cut the welds with the cutoff wheel again. You just grab a hammer. Just be careful for this. We'll reset. Start hitting it again. And eventually it'll come off. Oh crap. We'll move on. After copious amounts of cutting and grinding, this is what I'm left with. Just nice smooth axle tubes. From here, the only thing left to do is wash off all of the sludge and grease and whatnot, and then wire wheel the tubes and the diff down, and throw a coat of primer on it, which is what I'll be doing next. I decided to use a degreaser to clean off the differential casing, the axle tubes and whatnot, instead of going ahead and just wire reeling them right away. This way, so I could sort of try and avoid clogging up my wire wheel and making a big mess everywhere. It turned out well. I'd recommend it to anybody who wants to clean off an axle. It's pretty easy to spray the stuff on. As you can see, a lot of it's already, or a lot of the grime anyway, is sort of starting to come off already. After I had it all sprayed on, I just went in with the brush to scrub down the sort of messier areas that had a lot of caked on crap on it. We'll just skip this, it's kind of boring. Then after that, I just went and grabbed the hose and washed everything off. It came pretty clean right away. I did go ahead and actually do the process again to take care of and get into all the nooks and crannies I missed the first time, but it actually came pretty clean. This is what it looked like right after the two times of the degreaser. Then I just went and grabbed the angle grinder again and put a wire wheel on it this time and went to town on it. On this axle, since it was actually a lot cleaner than the rear due to all the oil and grease on it, that actually came really clean. It came out well. The wire wheel did good. The problem with the front differential though is that there's a lot more nooks and crannies that I couldn't get in with the angle grinder wire wheel, so I had to go grab the quarter drill, throw a wire wheel attachment on that, so I could get in all the nooks and crannies. And I actually ended up having to put on an even smaller wire wheel on this to get even deeper into all the corners. This is how it looked after the angle grinder wire wheel and then the quarter drill wire wheel. It came out really clean actually. The only thing I did right after this is just went and grabbed the rag with some acetone or lacquer thinner and wiped her all down. Then it was just grabbed the primer and gave her a coat of primer. Spraying it down with primer is pretty simple. Just shake up the can and spray around. I'm a little bit too close, but doesn't matter, it all came out well. It's a pretty easy process, nothing to it. And that's it for part 3 of putting Wagoneer Dana 44 axles under the Jeep X stage that I have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.